Hello, I am going to do another canning recipe for you today, and it is strawberry jelly. I've done the grape one already, and I figured I would show you guys how I do the strawberry jelly. So we'll just hop right into it. I have about 5 to 6 cups of chopped strawberries, fresh strawberries. They were rinsed. I chopped them up into little pieces. Then you're gonna have 1 box of pectin. You're gonna have 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And then about 7 cups, I'll just say 7 cups of sugar. We won't leave that to chance. 7 cups of sugar. So I'm going to use my chopper here, and I'm just going to, in a bowl, even more finely chop these strawberries. As you chop them, they're going to really break down. They're going to be really liquidy. We want as few chunks of these as possible. So I'm going to chop these for just a minute, and I mean by a minute I might mean like 5 minutes. So I'm going to get these good and chopped up and reduced down to hopefully just a very pulpy strawberry mixture. So as I was wearing my arm out, I remembered I have an immersion blender. So I'm going to give this a try and see what this does to it. Oh, that did it. For a second, I didn't think it was going to do anything. That did the trick. So I will show you. Oh, splattered right on my face. I will show you now what that did. So that made a real nice strawberry soup out of our strawberries. So that's exactly what I wanted to happen. So now there are still chunks in here, which is okay, but I'm going to pour all of this into a really large pot. And I've gotten strawberry on my shirt. It's okay. There are worse things that could happen, I guess. Oh, I majorly got stuff all over me. Okay. So we are going to take our strawberries and we're going to put them over like medium-high heat. And this is where we are going to put in our lemon juice. 2 tablespoons. I eyeball it and it's never turned out bad. Don't be afraid. So then we're also going to put in our pectin here. What the goal is right now is we want this strawberry mixture to come to a boil with the pectin and the lemon juice. So I'm going to pour all that in there. My package was leaking there. Mix it up good. And I'm going to keep my eye on this. You do not want to set this to start heating and then walk away from it, because it will scorch if it gets too hot too fast. But over medium-high heat, make sure your pectin's good and mixed in there. And then, like I said, once it starts boiling, that's when we're going to do our next step. It's only been about a minute and a half. I'm already starting to get some bubbles coming through in this mixture. All right, we've got it about to a boil where my stirring won't calm it down so much. We're just about there. I'd say we're good. So yeah, I've got a good boil going here. So we are going to take our sugar and just slowly pour in all of our sugar. And we are going to take our time pouring this in because we need to stir as we're pouring. You do not want to have tons of clumps of sugar that do not get fully dissolved. So it's very important to not rush this step of the process. Ooh, and there went a big dump. Sorry. as you can get it out, you're good. Now, once you get all of your sugar poured in here, the goal is to get this up to another rolling boil. The rolling boil is what really activates that pectin, which is what's going to cause it to gel and set like a jam or a jelly. So this is, you cannot rush this process. You cannot rush through and say that just a small boil, a couple bubbles is going to do it. You need it to get up to just about, it needs to be a full boil. So we're going to let this sit and stir it a few more times as we go till we're at a good rolling boil. All right, it's at a rolling boil, so I need to let it be at a rolling boil for about 45 seconds to a full minute. So I'm going to let it do so without adjusting or without stirring, without manipulating it. It's really hard not to stir right now. I should go ahead and tell you, I've got my jars prepped, my my lids and rings all sanitized. I boiled them to sanitize them. And I've got my canning pot filled, and it's on high, so it'll get up to a good rolling boil. So now that I've got this up to a rolling boil, whoop, there it is. Let's go ahead and get that turned off. I'm going to pull it from the heat. I've heard you can add butter to this, and it will help reduce the amount of foam that you have. Again, I think it's just an aesthetic thing. I don't think the foam, I know the foam doesn't hurt you. It just doesn't, it just kind of sits at the top, and you got to get through that to get to the jelly. Not gross, we don't throw it away. I'll spread it on a piece of bread, no big deal. But here we are. See how pretty, is it pretty color, how bright that is? All right, here's that one. All right, I'm gonna go into my next jar here. I may not get through all these jars. I think I thought I was gonna do a double batch, but then my strawberries, oh, I guess I should tell you, I told you I had about 5 to 6 cups of chopped strawberries. That comes from about 2 to 3 of the containers of strawberries. Like, I think it's a quart. I'll pull it out of the trash and I'll tell you for sure. Just the regular size. Oh, it's a pound. Just 1 pound of strawberries. Just the regular individual size. So I did about 2.5 to 3 of those. You know, you always have a couple of strawberries in the pack that are less than edible. You don't want to use those. So here we are. This is so pretty, and it smells so good. It smells so good. Okay, so I'm down to my last jar. I over-prepared. So it's not a bad thing. Those will just be ready for next time. I did want to show you guys, though, because I realized I hadn't shown you this, how far I'm going, how full I'm filling these up. You don't want to fill them all the way up. When you're canning, you know you always want to leave a little bit of head space in there. So for jelly, I go just, literally just to where it meets up here at the lip here. You want to leave some space in there. Do I know the reason why? No, I don't. Like I said, I'm a beginner at all this stuff. All right, there we go. So I got five good quart jars here. Whoa, hot. Hot. Don't touch them. That's boiling lava, basically. Okay. So, next, my son's laughing at me. Next, what you want to do is take a paper towel around the rim. You want to make sure that your rims are good and clean here, because you don't want anything to interfere with the seal of the lid to the jar. And take that off. And now we're gonna put the lids on. Whew, what a mess I am. So you're gonna stick your lid on there. Seal it with the ring, which I don't think I got a good seal on that one. I don't know why. If you don't feel like you get a good seal, move on to the next ring. You don't want to leave this to chance. Ah, yeah, there we go. All right, and if you don't have one of these, highly recommend that you get one. It's the perfect little pot holder for your jars, for this purpose right here, for getting them good and tightly sealed. Helps if you have a ring on there. All right, so our next step is going to be to put them in our water bath once the water is boiling. And then we'll let them boil for about, I want to say that you let these boil for about 20 minutes. And that's a rolling boil for 20 minutes. So don't put them in there and then the water stop boiling and start your timer. You got to wait till that water comes back up to a boil to start your 20-minute timer. You need it to boil for that whole time in order to get a proper seal. There are food safety measures that this process ensures as long as you do it right. So I'm gonna, yeah, that's at a rolling boil, which is excellent. So I'm sticking these on in here. Ooh, very carefully, very, very carefully. You are dealing with boiling water. And then I've got one more. And we are going to lower this down in there. Whew. All right, so I'm going to cover it back up. I might pull a little bit of the water out of there because I've got probably 3 inches of head space, and you don't need 3 inches of head space. By head space, I mean here's the top of the jar with the lid on it. Head space to where the top of the water is. So I'm going to pull some of this water out because it'll start overflowing, and I don't want to deal with that mess. But we're going to let this in here for 20 minutes. I'll go ahead and set that timer because it's boiling. It did not pull down the temperature whatsoever. So I'll see you in just a few minutes. All right, we are less than a minute away from being at 20 minutes. I did pull the heat down a little bit. It's still at a rolling boil in here, but I did turn it down because even after I pulled out probably 4 cups, 5 cups, 6 cups of water, it still was trying to boil over. So I am going to go ahead and remove the lid off the heat. These burners are off. This is a safety problem if you have hot burners that are on and still hot. I do not. So I'm going to go ahead and take this lid off. Still at a boil in there. And when I pull them out, I'm just going to set them here on a towel. The way that you know these are done and that they sealed correctly is you'll start to hear them popping. Some of them will pop right some of them may pop right as you pull them out of the water. We're at 5 seconds, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. Some of them may start, you'll hear the lids pop right as you are, ooh, wrong end. Right as you pull them out. If they don't pop immediately, they're going to start popping soon. Probably within the next hour, they should all be popped. You don't want to manually pop them down. If you have some that do not pop on their own, stick it in the fridge and use it first. You could try to reseal it, reboil it. My recommendation is just go ahead and use it. But if you're making in bulk and you need it to seal and you don't need it in the fridge right now, you can definitely reboil it. I don't need that. And here we go. I'm gonna hold this up for you. Whew. So you can just see how pretty that is. Now all those chunks of strawberries in there, you'll see they'll start to settle as it gels up. Let me see if I can get it even closer here. Yeah, super pretty. Now you can see that little ring of foam at the top. Like I said, some people say that using butter will help reduce the amount of foam that you have in your jelly or jam. I'm not concerned about it. I wasn't concerned. Maybe if I go to do this as gifts, at some point I might be more concerned about it, but really probably not, because isn't that kind of some of the charm is homemade? It's not, it's imperfect. I think so, at least. So there's that. Like I said, this recipe, you can double it if you want to just get ahead for several months at a time. I only did a single batch, so that got me 5 quarts of strawberry jelly because I've still got some strawberry jelly left and plenty of grape jelly left. So we are not hurting for jelly right now. So anyways, that is just quickly how we do it. Maybe it's not so quick. I hope it's quick by the time I edit this. But leave me some comments. Let me know some tips and tricks. If you have other ideas you'd like to see me try that I've never tried before, I would not mind learning along with you. But definitely like and subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications of when my videos are popping up. We've got some more stuff coming up outside. We're getting ready to build a deck and a ramp for the dock. I've been saying it for weeks. It's gonna happen. It's about to happen. But anyways, that's the jelly. Thank you for watching. And again, I'll see you next time.